I believe we are good to start now. Thanks everyone for joining the meeting, and let's start the session. We are about to start. Yes, we are good. Let me open the PPT. Okay. All right. So we are good. Thank you everyone for joining the session, and let's start this meeting. So guys, I know many of you already joined my FortiGate batches as well and doing the Palo Alto as well. So those who join the both batches, they are going to look and feel we are doing the almost similar kind of stuff in Palo Alto and the FortiGate initially, okay? But after 3 and 4 class, things are going to be completely changed, okay? So why it's very important initially to understand the platform, their architecture, their basic, physical, appearance, how it is going to look like. Because when you're going to configure the actual firewall in productions, then it is going to be completely, new for you. So if you don't know anything about this Palo Alto firewall, FortiGate firewall, how physically they are going to look like, probably you are not going to understand. Thanks, Suman, for letting me know your name. Somebody joined with a mobile phone, Realme mobile phone. May I know your name? आप बता दो name अपना. I can rename boss. All right. Somebody joined with the Realme mobile phone. I would like to know your name if you don't mind. Okay, so this is my upcoming F5 live batch, which is going to start on Saturday. So if anyone willing to join F5, they can join. So we are launching the F5. Yeah, Johnson. Thank you, Johnson, for joining this meeting. Let me open the Palo Alto now. So how many of you have seen the Palo Alto firewall physically? Anyone seen the Palo Alto firewalls physically? How it's look like? Have you guys seen?
Yes. Before I see your on your video, what
Okay, you saw my video, okay.
classes, not see the real.
Okay, not since. So you guys are excited to see again on the video, FortiGate firewall. I want to see the how the console cable is going to be configured, everything. So I will basically explain physical devices as well. Not today because today's setup is not ready, camera and all. But definitely we are going to start from the very scratch. So I will explain. But very first thing is because we are starting this Palo Alto, and we have to know some basic fundamental of the Palo Alto. We did some course curriculum discussion. We did some kind of the, why we need a firewall. But now today we have to more focused on the Palo Alto firewall. That is a product. Okay. So I will explain step by step how the Palo Alto firewall physically going to look like, how the Palo Alto firewall virtually going to look like, and Realme, what's your name? You're writing on my screen, bro. Can you just tell me your name? You joined with the mobile phone, Realme RMX 5000. आप नाम बता दो, I can rename. Okay, it's very difficult to know your name. Please बता दो. It would be very helpful. Okay, so it is very important to know how physical firewall is going to look like, how virtual firewall is going to look like. So let me start one by one. So in productions, if you're going to start working on the Palo Alto firewall, you're going to find a lot of model of the firewall. Let me tell you that models. So this is a very small model of the Palo Alto firewall. That is a 220 model of the Palo Alto firewall. Means इससे छोटा कोई firewall available in the market में. This is the smallest firewall in the market, and it is going to cost India around 3 to 4 lakh rupees. If you're going to take the advanced level of licensing and all. If you're going to lower licensing, it is going to cost a little bit lower price. But this is how the say smallest firewall you are going to get in the market. And you can see how many ports are available. Means 220R have the lower port and 220 have the higher port. Similarly, if you go for the higher version, 420 is also there. That's not in my slide, but you are going to find some higher version of the Palo Alto Firewall. You can go and search the Palo Alto 420 Firewall. So this is very unique firewall, very nice firewall, 4000 series firewall. If you go there, see this firewall look like in the black. It's not going to come in the blue color. It's going to come as a black. So this is going to be your 400 series of the firewall. The firewall which I'm showing here in the slide, that is the 220. Similarly, you're going to get 820 firewall, which I'm going to show you in the actual on the camera, how it is going to look like. And then you have the 3000 series of the firewall, right? And also you have the 5000 series of firewall, and also you have the 7000 series of firewall. So you can purchase bigger and bigger and bigger firewalls based on your need. It's not necessary you always go and purchase 7,000 firewall. That's going to cost around 1 CR and even more than that. Okay. So it's not recommended to just go and buy the 7,000 series of firewall. It depends what your business need. If your business need is saying your only this firewall is going to fulfill all our business requirement, that is a PA220, then there is no meaning to invest a lot of money on the other model of the firewall, higher model of the firewall. Just take an example. In your Mumbai office or in your Delhi office, just you have the 10 users. And for the 10 users, you want to give the secure connectivity toward the internet. Secure connectivity while accessing any internal application. Do I need to purchase 7,000 series of firewall? Do I need to purchase 5,000 series of firewall? The answer is no. You don't have to purchase. You have to purchase small firewall, which is going to serve 10 to 15, 20 users very easily without any problem. So I will explain which scenario, which model is going to recommend it. But very first task you have to understand, let's suppose you are the firewall engineer and someone is going to ask you, hey boss, can you just do the basic configuration of the Palo Alto firewall? And might be they are going to give you the physical box in front of you and they ask you, I require two tasks. They give the physical box to you and they ask you perform the two tasks. First, do basic configuration via CLI. The second, take GUI access of firewall. This is your day zero requirement. Means you have the very brand new firewall and this is the two tasks you have to perform. How you are going to do that? Being a firewall engineer, if you don't have the knowledge, probably you are going to fail. Take an example. You have to do the same thing with a router. Can someone tell me how I can achieve the same thing for the router? I want to CLI access of the router and also I want to GUI access of the router. Anyone can tell me who is a brilliant in the class who can tell me the both answers.
Okay. If you want to access through CLI, you can go with putty. Access through putty and HSS, SSH and telnet.
So
If you
console
want
can be
to,
word, console can use via putty, telnet can use
yes.
or SSH can use. Okay, that's correct. 100% correct. And
If you want to go with a GUI,
router can give the GUI.
check up default IP in router, and you can ping through this IP same network. Your computer and your router make sure the same network connectivity, and you can through access the same username and password.
So
Like
GUI,
if you
GUI I
have,
can access directly to the router or I need to do a special settings.
no, you need to special setting should be connect to the router network and PC network, the same internet connectivity.
Okay, let me let's
one command needs to be enabled like IPSTTP server and IPSTTP secure server.
Through RJ45 connector.
yes. That's very, very nice. RJ45 connector. And they should be in the same network. That's also,
yes.
Yeah. And Bharat, you told or Praful, who told? The HTTP server one.
IP HTTP
Okay,
secure server.
Praful, okay. So we have to enable, that's Praful is perfectly fine. We have to enable two services in router configuration. You have to go and run the command IP HTTP server. This is going to allow HTTP services. That is on the port 80. Means you can take the web of this particular router, but non-secure. Make sense? But if you want to take a securely, then you have to run another configuration command that HTTP
Yes.
secure server. This command you have to, then it is going to enable HTTPS, which is going to work on the 443, and that is going to be secure. So by doing this, you can take the GUIX of this particular router. Try to do in your lab, okay? Everyone, this is your task. What you have to do that? Let me draw one topology. It's a very basic things, okay? So you have to take one router. Let's suppose this is my router. I can show you, but this is not part of this Palo Alto syllabus. And let's suppose this is one PC, okay? Just do in your lab and let me your result. You have to perform two things. You have to install the putty on this particular PC. First, you have to telnet and SSH this router. That is the one task from the putty. Second task from the web browser, means from this browser, like you have to open this particular PC and you have to log in this router via the HTTP and via the HTTPS. Just try to do that. अगर आपने कभी जिंदगी में नहीं किया है, so for my recommendation is try to do that. It's very important. Okay. So it is going to give the flavor how to log in the CLI and how to log in the GUI. अगर नहीं समझ में आता है तो we'll discuss in the next class. I'll show you how it is going to happen. Okay, so coming back to the point again. So if we have the same thing as the firewall, means अगर मैं यहाँ पे गया, if I have to go on the firewall now and I have to perform the Jensen, I didn't get your what does mean it's more than 4 lakhs? What is this more than 4 lakhs? You mentioned in the chat. Okay, means firewall cost? You're talking about the Vikrant, don't write on my screen, man. Please don't write on my screen. It's my request. So if this is going to be my firewall, so firewall again, you have the two method. You require one PC. This is my PC. PC is going to connect the firewall. There is one port that is known as the management port. Via this management port, you can access this firewall via SSH, via telnet. By default, only SSH is going to work. Telnet is not going to work. But if you want to enable, we can do that. I will explain how it is going to happen. So this is the by default. Second method, if I want to access via the GUI, that also I can take the firewall access. Third method, if I want to take the console, right? The console is not going to work on this management port. There is a dedicated management port that is going to console. Cable is going to be connected, and based on that, you can take the connectivity from firewall to the console. Make sense? So how it is going to happen, I will show in the live. I will do the step-by-step all thing in the physical firewall and the virtual firewall. But before I can go and do that, let's understand how my physical firewall is going to look like. So at least you guys can get understanding how basically Palo Alto Firewall is going to be look like. So this is the one of the Palo Alto Firewall. It's a very popular Palo Alto Firewall. Let me re-share my screen, guys. Vikrant, right on my screen, and it's irritating to me because that is not deletable. Okay, so you can see this is my firewall. And trust me, guys, this is actually firewall I have in my office. So in our office, we have the exactly same firewall. So yesterday we did discussion about the FortiGate Firewall, how it is going to look like, and discuss the same concept, why we have the different port. So who attended the FortiGate session, who already enrolled my FortiGate session and Palo Alto booth, they already can correlate what I'm going to cover. But here, let me explain from the scratch. So once you buy any firewall, this is your front panel, right? This is your front side view. And this side is your back side view. So back side view is going to be, sorry, what happened? Hold on. Somebody is trying to, oh man, why are you pinging me? I don't want to chat. Okay. So in back side panel, what is going to be happen? You are going to connect with the power supply. Okay. So you can connect the power, whatever the power source you have, PS is going to be connected. Also, you're going to get some fan. This might be the fan. And also in the front side, you're getting the fan. So these are the just, basic requirement. It is going to be there. But what is the most important you have to understand in this firewall? That is their ports and their responsibility. So as I mentioned that, if you want to take the console of this firewall, so we have the management port by default and one is the console port. So console port, you have to connect the console port with your PC. This is your PC. And this is the special console cable. Even I will show you how the console cable is going to look like. This is my console cable. This console cable is going to connect on the console port. And once you connect, you have to go in the putty, let's suppose on the PC, and you have to select the serial. And once you select the serial, you have to run that console connectivity. Then it is going to show your output of the firewall, whatever configuration inside of the firewall. Okay. So this is how it is going to be happen. Means console, you have to connect on the PC. Just give me 1 minute, guys. One second. Okay, so console you need to connect, and based on the console, you just have to go and get the CLI access. So you're going to get the CLI access of the particular firewall. So it's only for the CLI. Now you have to take the GUI access. So GUI access, you have to connect the PC. Let's suppose this same PC or might be another PC. But this time you have to not connect with the console cable. You require the RJ45 cable. So you require the RJ45 cable. By connecting the RJ45 cable, you have to assign the IP address on your PC NIC card. Means LAN IP address. And here on this port, by default, you are going to get one IP address, that is 196.168.1.1. So it's a hard coded IP address is going to there on the management port. So here you might be going to assign the IP address from the same network 192.168.1.2/24. The moment you are going to assign this IP address on this PC, this is already have the IP address 192.168.1.1. You are able to ping. So your ping is going to be allowed from PC to the management port. Make sense? Once it's allowed, you have to go in the web browser and you have to type HTTPS and the IP address 192.168.1.1, and then you're going to prompt with the username and password, and आपको वहाँ username password डालना है, then it is going to work your firewall. That is the one set of the GUI actions. What other things I can do via this management port? So when I can log in the GUI access, means I can manage the firewall. If I do not have the console cable and I have the management port is connected here, and now if I want to do the SSH of this particular firewall, so I can do the SSH via the putty by using this IP address. That is also possible. If I want to do telnet, that is also possible. I can do that. But by default, telnet is going to block on the management port. So is it clear the difference between the management port and the console port? Any doubt? Anyone have any doubt why you use the console port and why the management port? If interviewer is going to ask, then you guys are able to define. Yes, no, maybe guys. Please tell me. Hello?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Sir,
I can hear you.
console is for only CLI mode. In the short meaning is that the console which is given on the firewall, it is only for to access for in the CLI mode, right?
Yes.
And through MGMT we can take CLI as well as GUI from.
Yes.
Okay, got it.
So,
As sorry.
yeah, please go
सर
ahead.
Sorry, you can do it.
जैसा इसमें MGMT है, मैं भी थोड़ा फोर्टीनेट को बीच में ला रहा हूँ, सॉरी हाँ। तो फोर्टीनेट में ये MGMT नहीं रहता है, डायरेक्ट हम पोर्ट 1 से एक्सेस लेते हैं ना?
नहीं
ऐसा
48 में भी MGMT रहता, कल मैंने दिखाया था।
जी।
अच्छा, आपने अगर शायद ज्वाइन नहीं किया होगा, आपने 48 बैच नहीं
हाँ
किया, राइट? सो
नहीं।
FortiGate अगर आपने जिसने कल ज्वाइन किया था, सो
जी
लेट मी शो यू FortiGate
सर
Firewall.
हाँ 10 सीरीज में नहीं है MGMT पोर्ट जैसा।
So
मुझे
not every
हाँ
firewall, but if you go to the
हम्म
firewall, you're going to find the MGMT port.
हम्म,
तो यहाँ पे है, देख लो ये वाले
मतलब
port.
100 के ऊपर वाले जितने भी
Yes,
सीरीज है।
yes. So अगर 40F में देखोगे, so you just have to use the by default port 1. But if you go the higher
हम्म
one, so it is going to use the MGMT port. That's correct.
सो तो ये Palo Alto के साथ में भी सेम ऐसा ही है क्या सर?
नहीं, Palo Alto, every firewall model have the management port.
ओके
In
ठीक है सर,
Palo Alto,
मतलब
if every firewall model have the MGMT port by default. Even 220 is a
ओके
smaller firewall, but if you see
हम्म
here,
ओके सर,
you are going to
थैंक यू।
get MGMT port here. Okay?
thank you।
चलो ठीक है. So give me thumbs up, guys. Everyone understand or write in chat. Yes, I understand the difference between the console port and management port. Keep typing so I can see you are engaged. Okay, and you are getting understand everything, means you are understanding everything correctly. Now moving to the another ports. I will explain each and every port so you are not going to be confused why the particular ports are going to be used. Now we have the USB port. Have you seen router have the USB port? Anyone?
Yes.
Yes
Yes.
Why you use the USB port in the router or switch?
We can use
Same to
for firmware upgradation, like we
Firmware
can
upgradation. Okay, what else we can do that? Firmware upgradation is the one perfect answer. What else? Any use case anyone have seen? Why use a USB port? Firmware upgradation is perfect answer. कुछ और भी कर सकते हैं. Anyone know? What else we can do that?
configuration part।
Configurations, yes, partially true, right? We can, if you have the backup configuration, we can take from the USB and we can put in. Yeah, that's also possible. That's it. So sometimes we have to put the license file, sometimes the configuration, some the villain dot file config backup. That's Bharat is also correct. So this kind of the activity we can do that. Similarly, in the Palo Alto also we can do that. Everything. So router switch with Joby, whatever you are doing that, that's absolutely 100% things we can do in the Palo Alto Firewall. So I hope it makes sense to everyone. So it's a very basic. You just plug in the USB and you can get information from firewall. Means you can get out info from firewall and take in info from USB to firewall. These all action we can do the console port. Means the USB port. Now we have the another console port. This is the kind of the type C console cable you can connect on the firewall. If you don't have the RJ45 one, you can use this and you can do the same thing. Any questions? Anyone asking? Anand Lal Kohli? Okay, so we can do the console here also.
इसका ड्राइवर वगैरह का कुछ पंगा हो गया इसका ना.
Please mute. I think he's talking to someone else. So we can use this console also. Now we have the ports. You can see this is the similarly in the FortiGate also. We have the power, we have the fan, we have the alarm, we have the temperature, we have the HA, we have the status. So this LED is going to be three colors. One is going to be red, one is going to be amber, and third is going to be green. If red means it's a danger, it's a critical. Amber means you have the warning. Green means all okay. So Agar in life, if you find that my firewall have the problem, my firewall having some kind of the alert, that's the red or probably amber. That means you have to check your firewall status, especially for the physical firewall. Could be power issue, could be fans are not working correctly fine, could be other system alerts, could be other hardware status, HA high availability status, temperature is very high, your cooling is not working. So these all things are going to create a problem, and if you are not going to capture these things, it is going to be problem and your system is going to be down. So you always know, if you are doing the any troubleshooting, always try to ask the on-site technicians, hey, can you just tell me the firewall LED status? So if all green, that means you have the good news. Means at least your firewall health is okay and you can move your direction of troubleshooting in different way. But if you find my firewall have the red signal, so you have to figure it out why it's red and what is the reason. Might be fan having a problem, temperature having a problem, HA having a problem. These are the major things. If alarm and status having a problem, then you have to probably do the deep dive troubleshooting. But at least fan, HA and temperature, you can easily understand where is the area we have to target to fix this issue. So that's how alerts is going to be help you. So you can think about that. If you have any kind of the problem, you are not feeling well. So you go for the diagnostic, you go to doctor write a diagnostic for certain blood tests, other things test. Why they wrote? They want to see what is happening in your body. Based on that reports, they are going to prescribe how you can just, going to be get well after taking the medicines. So this is the same process. These are the symptoms are going in front of the firewall and you have to understand why these symptoms is coming. Clear? Now, moving to the next, we have the different ports. You can see these ports are not dedicated for the LAN, not dedicated for the WAN. This is my RJ45 port. Means you can get the 1 Gbps. And these are my fiber ports. These fiber ports can be more than 1 Gbps. So if you want to connect the LAN, it is also possible. Let's suppose you want to connect the LAN. If you have the switch have the lot of client, you can connect, there is no problem. This port can connect the switch. This also can connect the switch. This you want to connect. But if you WAN, means you want to connect the internet, you can connect via this way or this way. So any port you can use, we'll see how it is going to be configured. It's not dedicated port for the LAN and WAN. You're absolutely free to use that. Depend if your LAN having the very high bandwidth requirement, more than 1 Gbps, so you have to use the fiber port. Your WAN also have the more than 1 Gbps, then you have to use the fiber port. If only 1 Gbps, then you can use this or this. So it totally depend what is your requirement and why it is needed. Clear? So these ports are going to use for the LAN and WAN. And this is my LED. Now, moving to next, we have the HA ports. Why HA ports are very important? So HA ports are basically, let me show you one thing. Why HA is very important. So let me go here, copy image. I can paste it and let me make it bigger so you guys can see it. Now please mute yourself, man. So I will just duplicate, copy and paste. So the one firewall is my, this is my firewall 1, PA01, and this is my PA02. So why HA? HA is going to be your high availability. So high availability means if this is topology you have, let me show you. Let me go in the topology. I'll go here. And let me go on the active passive, where it is. This is my active passive. So you can see we have the two firewall. If I have only one firewall, let's suppose this is the only firewall, this is not firewall, so this is only one firewall, and all traffic is going via this internet. If this firewall is going down, then what is going to happen, man? My all traffic is going to be dropped. Make sense, everyone?
Yes.
If this firewall is going
Yes.
to be dropped, then my all traffic is going to be dropped. So we have some backup solutions. So that's why we use the HA. So HA is basically high availability. So even this connection is going via this firewall and this firewall is going down. So my connection automatically going to switch to another firewall and it is going to the internet. So there is no downtime is going to be happen. Means without any problem, still my communication is going to be happen. And based on that communication, you are going to access all the services, whatever it is going to be required. So that's the HA. So to build this HA, we require two ports. One is required the HA1 port and one is required the HA2 port. And this is the what firewall is showing here. This is what you have the HA1 and HA2. So what you have to do that HA1 port, you have to connect this port, you have to connect with this port via the RJ45 cable. This port, you have to connect with this port. That is also RJ45 cable. And then you have to do the HA configuration. So that's why we have the two port. Means we have requirement if two firewall need to work as a cluster and one is going down, another is going to carry traffic. That is my HA is going to be there. Another ports is also going to be there, but that not physical port. We have some physical port, HCIE port, we can use that. I will explain when we do the HA, but that is the HA3 port. HA3 port, we have the HA2 flavors. One is the active passive. In active passive, only HA1 and HA2 is going to be used. But when you are going to use the active HA deployment, we'll see there's a course, there's a part of the course. In this case, you have to use the HA1, you have to use the HA2, and you have to use the HA3. All three ports are going to be used. So basically HA1 is going to use as a, this is known as the control port. Means it is going to carry the control traffic. And this HA2 is going to be your carry the data traffic. This HA3 is going to avoid the asymmetric routing. So we'll discuss how the asymmetric routing is going to be avoided. Make sense? So why use the HA port? Any doubt till here? Anyone on this particular firewall? Why we have the different ports? Please let me know. If any doubt, then we can discuss. Else I have to move in the different phase of the discussion. Pooja, are you happy? Great. What others, guys? Everyone understand? Give me thumbs up if you guys understand 100%.
सर HA में अपन मतलब लाइक 2 फायरवॉल्स ही कॉन्फ़िगर कर सकते हैं, उससे ज्यादा कर सकते हैं कुछ, मतलब इन जनरल जस्ट आई एम आस्किंग।
नहीं समझा, दोबारा एक बार बताओ आप।
HA में अपन 2 फायरवॉल कॉन्फ़िगर कर सकते हैं, राइट? सो
Yes, we
अगर
can.
उससे ज्यादा करना होगा तो कर सकते हैं या फिर
see, generally HA only support 2 firewalls because even you are going to use the active passive, the one firewall is going to be active, another is going to be passive. Active करोगे तो एक firewall active, another is going to be passive. But if you want to build the cluster, you can do that and it's going to support up to 8 firewalls.
Okay.
Right? We'll discuss later, okay? Any other question?
What are the basic causes of means firewall getting down or anything happen to the primary or active firewall? What are the main causes?
I didn't understand. Can you repeat the question again?
No, actually we are using the HA port for the redundancy, means stand active and standby scenario. But what are the causes of active firewall failure?
Okay, what is the
like
copy
link
vector?
down
Okay.
or
So one is your firewall is going to be down. Okay. Let's suppose you cut the power, then firewall is going to shut down. That's one reason. Make sense?
yes,
Or
yes,
that's one reason. Or might be you shut down the firewall, you remove the power cable, then it is going down. Another is there is a failure condition. That one is the hardware failure, one is the power failure. Third one, if you're doing the link and path monitoring, we'll discuss link and path monitoring. Means if your any critical link is going down, then again your failover is going to be triggered. Any critical path having a problem, your IP is going to be unreachable. That is also going to be your failover condition. So these are the basic common things you should know, Praful. Nothing
yeah.
that. Clear?
Okay, thank you.
Okay.
Yeah.
सर कंजर्वेटिव मोड पे अगर जाता है फायरवॉल तो भी मतलब सेकंड फायरवॉल अप होता है क्या? Just question.
Conservative mode, I didn't understand, Akash. दोबारा पूछो, what is a conservative mode? What does mean?
एक्चुअल में जब भी सीपीयू यूटिलाइजेशन या फिर मेमोरी यूटिलाइजेशन हाई पे चला जाता है ना, तो वो कैसा एक मतलब स्टक हो जाता है, कुछ भी प्रोसेस नहीं करने देता है किसी भी चीज को, मतलब ट्रैफिक फ्लो पूरा रुका देता है ऐसा। मतलब ये मैं एक्चुअल में मैं फोर्टिनेट का बता रहा हूँ सर, मतलब यूज टू मैं फोर्टिनेट से हूँ, जनरली मुझे पालो अल्टो का इतना नॉलेज नहीं है तो इसलिए। तो अभी कंजर्वेटिव मोड में मतलब मेरे खुद का इंफ्रास्ट्रक्चर का बहुत बार कंजर्वेटिव मोड में गया है F40, तो उसमें क्या होता है कि पूरा मतलब लैंड का नेटवर्क है ना वो पूरा स्टक कर देता है, कुछ भी करने नहीं देता है, सब चीजें डाउन हो जाती है। तो वो हम बीच
So
में देख रहे थे कि
see,
कंटिन्यूसली
in Palo Alto, FortiGate, because I can understand what you're talking, other people might not understand because जो आप पूछ रहे हो, right? But let's discuss, क्योंकि Palo Alto का ना जो traffic processing है, that is bit different from FortiGate. Palo Alto में what happened, we have the dedicated control plane and dedicated data plane. Let's suppose you apply the debug on the Palo Alto firewall. Debug, right? डिबग लगा दिया आप और भूल गए, यू डोंट स्टॉप दिस, मैं बताऊंगा कैसे लगता है. सो व्हाट इज गोइंग टू हैपन, योर सीपीयू इज गोइंग टू बी स्पाइक 100%. सो योर कंट्रोल प्लेन traffic is still going to run, but your data plane traffic is going to be dead. So technically your no data traffic is going to happen, means your network is going to be down. But उस केस में failover नहीं होगा कि there is no failover condition if data plane is going to be down. So आपको manual failover करना पड़ेगा उस केस में, right? Because control plane अभी भी आपका पे management plane is going to be up and working. So we'll see later how it is going to happen. जब मैं दिखाऊंगा कि how my control plane CPU is going to look like, how my data plane है. But FortiGate में ऐसा नहीं होता. There is a single CPU. If you have any problem, your control and data plane is going to be affected. That's the beauty of the Palo Alto Firewall. अभी दिखाता हूँ, देखो अभी ये देखो, ये मैं दिखाता हूँ कैसे दिखता है. It's a good question. Let me show you. देखो, if I going in this particular firewall, तब तक let me start some labs devices also.
सर क्या Palo Alto का पैकेट फ्लो बता सकते हो, लाइक मतलब if possible?
Definitely, this is a part of the class. So we are basically started this session. If you just go in the curriculum, let me show you. So we have to discuss this packet flow in the day 1 class, okay? But before day 1, single pass parallel execution and flow logic. So still we're not started because we are talking about the initial access system. This thing we are talking, okay? So we have the basic understanding of the configuration management, initial access, then I'll explain the flow logic, packet flow, and the single pass architecture of the Palo Alto Firewall. Okay, Visik? So stay tuned. You have to wait. So if I'm logging in the Palo Alto Firewall, the IP is 79. Let me see. So now I'm in the Palo Alto Firewall, guys, and I will show you how the CPU is going to look like. So you go here, the first command, show system info. So system info is the command which is going to show you the brief of their firewall. Means if running the command, you see that it is showing the what is the host name of the firewall, what is the IP of the firewall. This is the your management IP of the firewall. By default, is taken the DHCP. Subnet mask of the firewall, default gateway of the firewall. IP assignment, it's the static or DHCP. So as I mentioned, this IP taken from the DHCP, but I will show you how it is going to be default IP address on the management port later on. Now, the MAC address of the firewall, IPv6 address detail, the model PAVM, the serial number of the firewall, right? And these are the license VM50, storage 5.5 GB, the software version 10.0.3, right? Or whatever the license other we have. So we require the management IP address. So if I go here and log in this management IP address, probably I go here and type the HTTPS, and here is the IP is going to be 79. So I just log in it and click it login. This is my Palo Alto Firewall, and you guys see that this Palo Alto Firewall having two CPUs. One is the control plane CPU, one is the data plane CPU. Sorry, I missed some credential wrong. Let me try one more time. Yeah, now I'm logging. So you guys are going to see that my Palo Alto have the management plane. The Palo Alto have the data plane CPUs. And this is the unique feature in the Palo Alto Firewall, guys. None of the box have this. See, this is the what I was talking. System resource, the management CPU and the data plane CPU. So if you have the data plane CPU problem, your data traffic is going to be there, but HA is not going to fail over. So HA failover condition is going to be your link failure. अगर नहीं समझ में आ रहा कोई बात नहीं. We have the dedicated lecture on the HA. I will explain everything in very detailed HA in the very last section. That is going to be end of the session. So you don't have to worry. Now we have the link failure conditions. We have the path failure condition and device failure condition. Then my HA is going to be triggered. Okay, so this is how it is going to look like. Now let me move to the another lab. If any question, please ask. Else, I will show you how my firewall is going to be configured step by step. We have to go into day 0. Any question, please let me know. Or shall I go and explain the
Hi, sir.
Yes, sir. Tell me.
So there is two more types of ports in Palo Alto, right? In my firewall, there is some ports aux and HSP or HCP, something like that.
So aux port is similar to your console port, okay? Auxiliary cable, it's going to be known as. One port is HSCI port. That is going to be used for dedicated for your high speed chassis interconnect. That is going to the HA. So if you don't want to use this HA 1 or 2 port, you can use this HSCI port. That is going to use for the HA2 link. That is the data link, or might be used for the HA3. HA1 it is not going to use, just use for data link, because data is going to be always larger, and HA3 that is going for the active configuration. So this is the HSCI port. We'll discuss, but this is a special port which not come with every firewall. If you are going to buy the high-end firewall, let me show you.
5250.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Palo Alto 5250. Let me open this. It's a modular firewall. So probably you can open this. Let me see if I can open it. See, its image is blurred. But let me try to open this one. Probably we can see. Now you can see. So you're talking about this aux port, right? And this is the HSCI port. Right, Jessler? You're talking about this one, right?
Yeah.
So aux port is basically similar to the console port, right? You can use just auxiliary cable to take the firewall access, or might be you can use for the out of band management. Anyone know what is out of band management? Anyone know what is out of band management?
Yeah.
Dedicated network for the
Yes. So in case if in band means you are trying to access your firewall via your management IP address, but that is going to reachable via your LAN network, and that is unreachable. So by using the auxiliary port, you can connect the out of band management. That is a different network. That's not your inside network. Might be your ISP network, might be it is going to happen some kind of the wireless network, and that is going to be used to just connect that particular auxiliary port, and that is going to give the OOB connection. That is known as the out of band management. And this is basically going to provide management port in bond management. Means from internal LAN, you're going to log in this particular firewall. That's the one. This is the HACI port. So let's suppose you have the 250-500 firewall, right? This is, and again, you are the 5260 firewall. This also have the HSCI port, high speed, like CC interconnect. So you have the HA1 port here. So you can connect the HA1 with the HA1 with the RJ45 cable. That is act as a control link. But this can be connected with the fiber cable. And this can be used either your HA2 or might be the HA3. If it's active passive, if it is active passive, then you can use the HA2. But if it is the active, then you have to use this port as a, means HA2 you have to use here, and this is going to be HA3 as a your HA3 link. So this is how it is going to happen. Clear, just
Sir, how many links are there? 3 links, HA1, HA2, HA3.
No. If you have the active, if you guys have the active, let me write it here. So if you have the active passive, only 2 link, HA1 and HA2. If you have the active, then you have the HA1, HA2 and HA3 also. Clear?
Yeah, HE3 should be HC port, right?
This both can be, this can be also HSCI port. This
Okay.
also can be HSCI port. This cannot be HSCI port. Chalo. So I believe we are good. Now let's come back to your day 0 firewall configuration. So now the very first lab we are going to start in this session. If you have the brand new firewall, then how you can define the GUI access and CLI access. Step by step, we'll see that. So as I mentioned that, if you go here and just search the Palo Alto initial configuration, you are going to get this particular link. I will share this link to your chat box also. So let me share this in the chat box. You guys can refer this official documentation. In this official documentation, you can download this PDF also. It is saying that very first step. Listen carefully, guys. Install your firewall and connect the power to it. Means you require the firewall in the rack. You take the firewall, you install in the rack. This is the rack, okay? Inside the rack, you have to install the PA01 firewall. Then you have to connect the power. This is the very first step, okay? Now, what is next? Gather the required information from the network administrator. And who is going to be network administrator? IP address of the management port, network mask, default gateway, DNS. So this is basically you. You are the engineer, network security engineer. So you have to get this information. If your designer is preparing this information, might be your company, you are not right person to assign the IP address of the devices. So your technical designer would be there. Your consultant would be there. Your L3, L4 engineer would be there. Your manager TL would be there. Who is managing these data sets to assign the IP address on the particular ports. So you have to get this information. The third steps, when you connect your computer to the firewall, means they're saying once you connect this power, get the information, then you have to connect your computer to the firewall. This is your PC. and you have to connect the computer to the firewall. But which port? That's very important. कहाँ पे मैं connect करूँ? कहीं पे तो जाकर I cannot connect. So I have to connect somewhere because these all ports are available. So let's read it out. So they are saying connect a cable to the firewall one of the following way. पहला क्या बोल रहा है? समझो यहां बात से. पहला it is saying that connect a cable from your computer to console port and connect the firewall using the terminal emulation software that is using the 9600, that is a putty software, right? Wait few minutes to boot up the sequence to complete. When your firewall is ready, the prompt change the name the firewall, for the example PA220 login. So they are saying the first method, you can use the firewall connectivity from your computer by taking the console port. यही चीज मैं बता रहा था. मतलब आपको करना क्या है, you just have to go and you have to connect the firewall to your computer from this cable, and that is your PC, and that is required the console port, and you require the putty. Clear? Now another method they are talking, you can connect the RJ45 cable. Now there is no console cable. This is the serial console cable. Now they're talking the RJ45 cable, Ethernet cable. You have to connect the Ethernet cable from the computer to management port of the firewall. So this is my management port. This is my management port. Why you use the management port? Akash, can you just tell me why you use the management port? Akash?
To access, yes, yes. To use this to access the firewall through GUI or else CI, CLI.
Yes. That is SSH or Telnet. Okay. So if you want to take access of this particular firewall management port, and you have to go in the browser, you have to type this particular IP address. But special note you can see here. जब भी आप firewall खरीदोगे, by default this IP is going to be there. It's a physical firewall. If you are going to purchase the physical firewall, this IP is going to be there always. But in case of the virtual, this IP might not be going to be there. So in our case, what is the firewall? It's a physical or virtual? Pooja, it's a virtual or physical firewall? आप बता सकती हैं?
Virtual.
Virtual.
Yes, it's a virtual, right? So in virtual case, you probably not have this IP address. Let me show you. This firewall doesn't have this IP address. अगर ये old configuration नहीं होगा, तो 100% there is no IP address. Let me try. So if I go here, source system info. See, there is no IP address because it's a virtual. But अगर ये physical होता, if it is a physical, so you are going to get a hard-coded IP address. In this place, you are going to get hard-coded IP address. This is the IP address. So you're going to get 192.168.1.1, or subnet mask, you're going to get 255. I will show you later in the physical firewall .0. If this firewall is going to be physical, जब भी इसका console लोगे, that is going to be there. So this is how it is going to happen. Now moving back to the topic. Now your computer must be get an IP address. You may need to change the IP address of your computer to this address. Means इसी network से you have to put any IP address like 192.168.1, and then you have to access the URL. So let's do this lab. If everyone understand, let's do this lab.
सर एक क्वेश्चन था. जो फर्स्ट स्टेप है लाइक सीरियल केबल से जो कनेक्ट करेंगे, तो वहां पे तो आईपी एड्रेस नहीं रहेगा, करेक्ट?
See, console doesn't require IP address, Abhishek. Console connect करोगे आप कभी भी, and if your console is going to just give your physical firewall CLISX, but still अगर आपका physical firewall यहाँ पे है, समझो बात को. If the physical firewall, sorry, or let me open this particular diagram. It is going to better view. So let's suppose it's a physical firewall and you connecting the console. Here, this is a PC. This PC do not require IP address. This port does not require IP address. But when you take the console, your management port still have the IP address. Do you agree or not? Abhishek? If you take the console, the console port doesn't have the IP address, but management port have the IP address because the by default is hard coded. Make sense? But अगर ये virtual firewall होगा, so you taking the console, that's fine. मैंने ये console ले रखा है. You can see this is my console. This firewall is a console. This is the HTML console we call. This is the HTML console. But this management port doesn't have the IP address. But अगर यही मैं virtual firewall की जगह physical firewall में लिया होता, this port have the IP address. Clear? Clear to all?
Yes.
So now let's do that step by step process. So now this firewall doesn't have the IP address. Can I assign the IP address to this particular firewall management IP address? And if yes, what is the way to assign the IP address? So very first lab we are going to execute. Let's assign the IP address on the firewall management interface. And I want to assign the IP address on the management interface 192.168.1.1 and subnet mask. I will go and assign 255.255.0. Great. So let me do that. How can I do that? You guys can write the command. You have to go in the configuration and you have to press enter. No terminal. After putting this configuration command, you have to type the command set device config system type static. You have to put device config system type static. Put enter. Clear? If I am not going to put this command, what is going to happen? If I am not going to put command, what is going to happen? Your management interface, let me show you again. Your management interface will keep try to get IP address from the DHCP. So even you are going to assign the IP address, this interface will not take the IP address. If you're not going to put this command, or let me just do one thing. Go in the configuration. Sorry. What was the command? Delete set device. Delete set. Oh, I just forgot the command. Let me show. Okay. Delete. Device config system type static. So now I delete the entry. Let me try to put without changing this IP address. So I will do that set device config system IP address, and I will give the IP address 192.168.1.1 net mask 255.255.255.0. Done. And if you're doing any configuration on the Palo Alto firewall, if you are doing any configuration on the Palo Alto firewall, if you are not going to commit the command, if you're not going to put the commit, this configuration is not going to apply on the Palo Alto firewall. Okay. Likewise, Cisco router, you put any command, it is going to by default, it is apply an effect. In Palo Alto, you have to run the commit and you have to press the enter. Then your configuration is going to be applied. So I define the management IP address 192.168.1.1. But you will see that this is still not going to apply on the my management port. Why? Because वो DHCP मोड से ट्राई करेगा आईपी लेने के लिए, जो पहले मैंने कमांड डाला था स्टैटिक, जिसको मैंने डिलीट कर दिया. इसको फॉलो करना आप लोग. So even I have done the configuration, but the IP is not going to come in effect जब तक मैं उसको DHCP से static नहीं करूंगा. So you have to wait for a while, and then you'll see the magic is going to be happen. Just wait, guys. 10-minute more, 12-minute more. We'll wrap up this session. I know we are going a little bit longer side, but just a stay. So you can see commit has been done almost 75%. 98%. And it is going to be 100% very soon. It's take time, guys. So you have to be very patientful while doing the commit on the Palo Alto Firewall. Sometimes it take 5 to 10 minutes as well. But it's not going to take 5-10 minutes right now. It's going to commit very soon.
सर हर चेंजेस अगर मतलब हम कुछ भी कॉन्फ़िगरेशन कर रहे हैं तो वो 5 से 10 मिनट ही लेता है मतलब ये मिनिमम टाइम है क्या उसका
Yes,
कॉन्फ़िगरेशन
yes,
सेट होने का
it is going to take that much time. Now you see it's 100% completed. So almost 2-3 minutes taken, right? But now see the magic. If I exit here and if I run the command source system info, because static वाला apply हो गया, that's why it's taken. But अगर मैं इसको system type dynamic कर दिया होता, it is not going to take. So somehow static was not removed. Prince, I will explain how many session is going to be there. But what I want to mean, see, this was if it is going to be DSCP, this IP is not going to be applied. So if I let me go here, say device config, device config system type DSCP client. Let me commit again. So you'll see the IP is going to be automatically removed. That's the key thing you always have to remember.
This time, this commit time depends on the firewall load. Maybe it's consuming 10% of CPU and RAM and or other
No, just
firewalls.
it's not like that. Palo Alto generally take 2 to 3 minutes. Okay, it's a normal behavior. Even it's a very fresh firewall. You can see no much load, but it still is going to take that much time. See, almost it's a free.
What is the DSCP server then? If it is, we are going to configure a client.
DSCP server. Actually, it is not taking this command because we have to revert the configuration. But if your network have the DSCP, let's suppose you connected this management server. Let's take an example. Let me go in back in the previous lab, another lab. This lab you go. So this lab, if I connect the management port here, you don't have to define the management IP. This will automatically take because this network have a DSCP server. So it will automatically take. But in this topology, we do not have any DSCP server. So if I do not run the command set device config, this command, if I'm not going to run this command, by default, very new firewall is going to be always as a DSCP server, DSCP client. So it will try to keep checking the configuration from DSCP client only. But if you're running this command, static one, then it is going to change from the DSCP to static. And this is what exactly we have done. If you go here, source system info, I will show later, definitely. If I restart, it is going to take a lot of time. So we have to wait. But now we have to assign the IP address and net mask and the assignment type is static. Now what next? I have to go in the PC. That's the computer. And I will put the password of the computer 123. The password of the PC is 123. And then after I have to do the IP assignment of this computer. So let me make some good screen resolutions. Keep changes. Okay. So very first thing, I will go and assign the IP address. What IP address? As per the documentation, I need to assign IP address like 192.168.1.2. So let me do that. I will go here and I will assign the IP address. So I will go here 192.168 1.2 and there is no gateway is going to be required because they are going to stay in the same broadcast. The moment I will done, If I go my CMD, and if you check the IP config, you try to ping your firewall, it is pinging. So now you have the connectivity from your PC to the management IP of the Palo Alto Firewall. Once you have ping, you have to go in the browser and you have to run this particular thing, HTTPS, this one. So let me go on the browser and I will HTTPS 192.168.1.1. And you'll see my firewall GUI access is going to be there. And now you see it's giving some warning because certificate has been expired. I will discuss what is certificate later on. But now I am in the Palo Alto Firewall that I have taken access, brand new Palo Alto Firewall from my computer by using the management port. And this is how you have to do actually for the new firewall. And now I'll also tell you how you can take the SSH and Telnet. By default, if you're going to do the SSH, it is going to work, but Telnet is not going to work. So if I'm going in the putty on this particular firewall, and you're just trying to take the, means this is the computer, and if I just want to give the IP address 192.168.1.1, this is the by default SSH. If I'm trying to log in this SSH, it is going to work for me. See, it is allowing the connection. I have to put the username as an admin. Password I have to use. And you'll see now I am the firewall. And in this firewall, I have the CLI access of the firewall via the SSH. So if you run again, so system info, you're going to get the information. That's all information. But you are going to take the telnet now, right? Telnet is not going to work. Let me try to relog in again. So if you're going to put the 192.168.1.40 and you're trying to do a telnet, it is not going to work. Why? By default, telnet is disabled on your management interface. So if you want to enable the telnet, you have to go on the device of the firewall. Let me do that. It's taking a little bit time. So I will do that. Hold on. I can show you. It's a bit slow. So let's suppose this is my firewall. Let's suppose I want to take the SSH. I can take the SSH, but I'm in the Mac, so I cannot take the telnet. But let me see if I can do now. I have to go in the device, and you have to go in the interface. You have to go in the device, and you have to go in the interface. Click on the interface. And once you click on the interface, your management interface is going to be open. And on the management interface, by default, telnet, SSH, and HTTPS is going to be allowed. And you have to access via telnet. So you have to enable the telnet services also. Likewise, meanwhile it's booting up, you just think about this is my interface. You go in the management. See, by default, you have the HTTPS, SSH, and ping. If you want to enable the telnet, you have to click on telnet. You have to click OK. And then you have to commit it. Then it is going to allow. So same thing we have to do here. We have to click in the management interface. And see, ping, SSH, and HTTPS is allowed. So it's a bit slow because it's a virtual machine. So it's getting a little bit slow. But let me go and enable the telnet. And I will, let's suppose I click the gateway as the same 192.168.1.1. And I click OK. And then I need to do the commit again. So once commit is going to be happen complete, then you'll see that I can even take the telnet of the firewall. Earlier it was only SSH, and HTTPS is this browser. Even you try to do HTTP, it is not going to work because HTTP is unsecure and it is not allowed on your configuration. So let's wait. This is the last step, and then we'll close the session. Meanwhile, any questions anyone have? It's committing. Any question किसी के पास कुछ last?
सर एक क्वेश्चन है, जब हम पीसी में जो गेटवे था उसमें 1.1 नहीं डालता, जैसे जो मैनेजमेंट का जो आईपी रहता है हार्डकोर वाला, तो उसके पीछे का मतलब थोड़ा रीजन मतलब बता सकते हो क्या, ऐसा क्यों?
Can you just repeat your question once again?
हाँ, जैसा जो हमने पीसी लिया था, राउट अपना फायरवॉल से कनेक्ट किया था, तो उसमें हमने एनआईसी कार्ड जो रहता है, तो वहां पे मैनुअल आईपी ऑप्शन है, अपना मैनुअल आईपी हमने डाला 192.168.1.2 और सबनेट मास्क अपना 24 का दिया है। तो मुझे ये जानना था कि हमने गेटवे नहीं डाला, मतलब जो फायरवॉल का आईपी रहता है,
So
आईपी
it's not
मतलब
mandatory,
1.1
na?
वाला।
So say gateway is required when you have to go from one network to another network. अभी तो हम सेम ही नेटवर्क में है ना, दैट इज इन द सेम ब्रॉडकास्ट डोमेन.
अच्छा,
सो द गेटवे इज नॉट मैंडेटरी. आप डाल सकते हो बट इट इज नॉट मैंडेटरी बिकॉज वी आर द सेम ब्रॉडकास्ट डोमेन. बट अगर सपोज करो कि आपका ऐसा होता है कि दिस इज योर फायरवॉल, राइट? सॉरी, लेट्स सपोज दिस इज माय फायरवॉल. फायरवॉल इज कनेक्टेड विद वन राउटर. ओके, यहाँ पर नेटवर्क है 10.10.10.0/24 और यहाँ मैनेजमेंट आईपी आपका 10.10.10. आपका 1 है और यहाँ पर 10.10.10.2 है. फिर यहाँ पे आपका पीसी कनेक्टेड है. पीसी का आईपी है 192.168.1.2/24 एंड राउटर का है 192.168.1.1. So if you are going to go and try to ping 10.10.10.1 IP, it is not going to work. So you have to give the gateway of your router and that router will do the routing toward the firewall. So उस केस में आपको, because you have to work in the two different subnet. यहाँ पे same है तो we can give or you cannot give. It's optional. It's not mandatory.
चलेगा चलेगा, क्योंकि ऐसा प्रॉब्लम ना मुझे, मतलब जब मैं इसको कनेक्ट कर रहा था ना फोर्टिनेट को, तो गेटवे डाल रहा था ना, तो वो मतलब लॉगिन नहीं हो रहा था, और सिर्फ मैंने अपना आईपी डाला और सबनेट मास्क डाला तो वो अपने आप एक्सेस ले लिया। मतलब मैंने डायरेक्ट कनेक्ट किया था पोर्ट नंबर 1 से लैपटॉप को, तो गेटवे डालने के बाद में वो मतलब एक्सेस नहीं ले रहा था, मतलब कैनॉट कनेक्ट रिकनेक्ट का मतलब ये फेलियर आ रहा था, वो मतलब पॉपअप आ रहा था। तो वैसा मैंने ट्राई किया, इसलिए मैंने ये क्वेश्चन पूछा कि ऐसा क्यों।
So now you got the answer?
Yes sir.
Okay. So now let me do the telnet. So because we did the telnet configuration, click on the telnet. Telnet we have enabled. Now I click the 192.168.1.1 and you click OK. And you will see we have the telnet access of the firewall. So मैंने SS भी कर लिया and now we have the telnet. You have to put the username and you have the password. This telnet is unsecure. So if you have to allow telnet, you can do that, but it's not recommended. SS is always recommended. So system info. Clear? So I define how day 0 configuration we are going to do that, and how the step-by-step configuration is going to happen for your telnet, SSH, and management port configuration. Now, next class, we'll do some advanced. So, sorry, telnet is more about the non-secure management port. SSH is very secure. So, telnet and SSH both are the management port protocol. By using that, you can take access of the devices, remote access. ठीक है? यही difference होता है. Nothing more than that. All right. So I hope you guys enjoyed the today's session and see you in the next class. All right. Thank you.
Sir, on Saturday or directly on Monday?
We'll do the next class. Let me confirm with the team. Okay. We'll do by this week also. Okay. Because it's a regular started, so I don't want to take any delay. We'll discuss. Yes, Jesler, what is the question still you have? Please let me know.
Sir, is
मुझे
product. Okay, you can move it.
Yeah, Jesler, tell me. You go first.
Thank you. Sir, one question about the product. If my network is very big, /20 or 21, I just want to call some particular IPs on the policies. Creating for example, I am creating one object group. Can I create one TXT file or a CSV format, and can I export from IPs from that file?
Just like, can we take this question next class? It's going to take a little bit
Yeah,
time.
okay.
Okay.
Okay,
So
okay.
just hold on.
Okay.
And Abhishek, what was the question? I'll take a question definitely. If the
Okay.
small, I can reply. Yeah.
सर मुझे एक पूछना था लाइक मुझे मतलब लाइक कंफ्यूजन था कि FortiGate और पालो अल्टो में कुछ लाइक जब पैकेट इनबाउंड आता है तो पहले NAT पॉलिसी चेक होता है या अपना मतलब
Okay, that's a good
क्रिएटेड
question.
पॉलिसी
I
चेक
will
होता है
explain this also. When we do the packet flow, I'll explain this. Okay, Abhishek? So wait for the next class. All right?
और ये लोड बैलेंसर का कब स्टार्ट हो रहा है?
Saturday load balancer. I'll be your instructor. So lab is ready. So if anyone willing to join my load balancer batch, okay, this is going to start by this Saturday. So we all set for the load balancer. So if you want to experience the F5 LTM with me from the scratch, right? So you most welcome in my class. That is going to start by the 10 p.m. 10 a.m. Saturday, Sunday. Clear? All right. Hello. Thank you.
सर ये CCNP ESCO और SPPN ये सब भी करना पड़ता है क्या Palo Alto FortiGate के बाद?
No. That's not required. Basic networking is going to be required. CCNA level knowledge if you have, you can always do the, what do you say, firewall courses. There's no problem because
हाँ
we'll say
हाँ
routing
सर
there, right?
हाँ सर वही मतलब Palo Alto FortiGate करने के बाद ये सब करने का जरूरत नहीं है ना ESCO और SPPN ISE
नहीं वो भी
ESA
आप
WSA
अगर आप Cisco में if you want to go, then it is going to require.
सर
अच्छा
मुझे क्वेश्चन था लाइक सिक्योरिटी में ही प्रॉपर मतलब ये करियर करना है तो पालो अल्टो एंड सिक्योरिटी रिलेटेड कोर्सेस ही लाइक बेटर रहेंगे ना या फिर लाइक CCNA एंड लाइक लोड बैलेंसर ये भी जरूरी है उतना
दोबारा पूछना एक बार, क्या पूछ रहे हो आप?
फॉर एग्जांपल अगर सिक्योरिटी में जाना है तो
हम्म।
मतलब सिक्योरिटी में पालो अल्टो एंड अदर कोर्सेस लाइक FortiGate भी किया और कई कई कंपनी में क्या होता है ना कि लाइक वो लोड बैलेंसर भी मांगता है लाइक वो टाइम पे
Load balancer, security, firewall, it's a mandatory skill, right? It's all required. So अगर आपको firewall आता है अच्छे तरीके से, load balancer भी आता है, so आपका करियर बिल्कुल स्काई रॉकेट है. So एक एक करके सारा सीखना है. अगर सीख लोगे, तो it's going to be always going to give the best flavor of the salary in the market. So it's totally up to you. LB we are going to cover, not WAF. Gisler, we are going to cover LB, F5 load balancer. ASM we are not going to cover in this course, which is going to start by Saturday. SDWAN is starting by 2 p.m. Saturday. Morning में आपका start हो रहा है, that is the what do I say, load balancer. और कल सुबह 8:15 बजे, that is starting the advanced CCNP routing. So if anyone is willing to learn the CCNP also, that also most welcome. So multiple batches is there.
You are the instructor for all the courses? Or?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah, so I'll cover these courses. CCNP.
Superhero.
Yeah, because we almost 16, 17 years after doing the dual CCIE, it's like, for me, it's easy. So you guys can just leverage if you have the requirement. All right. Chalo, ठीक है. Thank you guys. See you again. Okay. Thank you guys. Thank you so much. See
Thank
you.
you.